We're going to just tell you a little bit about the story of how we ended up going to Bethel. It was pretty amazing. Actually, just out of the blue, I decided I was going to go visit my nephew. And I just seen what God had been doing in his life through BSSM, which is a Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry. And it just blew me away, everything that was happening in his life. I didn't even recognize him anymore. When I saw him, I just was like, who is this guy? So we were just sitting in the living room one day, and we were talking about it, talking about a couple other things that we had heard, been going on in Bethel, and I just felt like I need to go there. I need to check it out. So I just decided, I grabbed my laptop, and my family was kind of talking in the living room. I really didn't even mention much. I just kind of looked at my wife and said, I got to go do this. She's like, well, then you got to go do it. And then my father-in-law was like, hey, I'll go with you. So him and I kind of went down there, and the first night I got there, it was actually kind of hard. I kind of felt like there was just a lot of warfare. I was like, what have I done? I probably should just go home, It was really strange. But I went to service that night, and actually my father-in-law called Stace and said that, what did he say?
He said, Sean, this is Sean's thing. He's really going to like it. He's going to want to move here.
Yeah.
And then literally I hung up with my dad, and Sean was ringing on the other end saying, get me out of here. I want to go home. It was freaking him out.
It wasn't freaking me out. It was different.
Yeah.
But I just was like, what am I doing here? And anyway, I don't know, maybe it freaked me out a little bit. But it was so amazing. I went to the next morning, I went to their healing rooms and just experienced their passion for God. And lo and behold, I one day was sitting there and talking to some guys, and I just felt like the Lord said, we're going to do this. And I'm thinking, there's no way we're going to do this. I mean, we got a house, our family, our church, we're on staff at our church. This just doesn't necessarily make sense right now. And I'm thinking, so I kind of kept it to myself, didn't say much about it, came home, and I mentioned it to Stacia, and I kind of thought that would be the first real, like, nah, that's, you're crazy thinking. And she actually said, well, let's go check it out.
Yeah, so we took a trip down, actually, with our daughter, and we were down there for a weekend, and it was actually one of the most difficult weekends we had. Reagan got really sick for the first time. I don't think I got to go to a full service, maybe a worship service or two.
It rained like crazy.
It rained just like Seattle. Wow. It was crazy. And but the minute I did walk into the first service, I felt such a peace, and I felt like the Lord said that it's time to rest. It's time to be re-envisioned. You're tired, and I want to restore your energy and your vision and the life that I've put in you.
It really was a weird weekend, and I almost thought, well, that probably settles it. We're probably not going. And it was on the way back to the airport that my father-in-law looked at Stace and said, so what do you think? And I was kind of queuing in. I was like, well, yeah, she's going to say, I don't really feel it. And she's like, no, we're supposed to do this. And I just was floored. I didn't even really say anything even. I was just like, what? And so we came home, and we kept it to ourselves, really. We didn't say much. And
I just prayed about it and thought about it and asked the Lord for a confirmation.
We wanted a confirmation, but we wanted something outside of kind of our sphere. So we didn't really even say much.
Yeah.
And a prophet came through our church named Patty Amson. She's amazing. And one day she was just prophesying over the staff. And we're just sitting there, and she began to just talk about the supernatural and how God was going to begin to bring people to our doorstep, and it was going to be just, this supernatural touch of what God was doing. And then in the middle of it, she just paused and she said, but I feel like there's a season where you guys are going to be pulled away, and it's going to be a season of refreshing and a season of encouraging and empowering, and it's almost like you're going to be hidden from where you are now. And I heard it, and I just started crying. I just was like, what in the world? And
I didn't hear it at all.
And she didn't even hear it. And so I got the recording later just to, make sure I heard it right. And Justin sent it to me, and sure enough, I heard her kind of do that blip in there. And it was like no one else in the room caught it, but I caught it. It was just a confirmation to me. And then we went and talked to our senior leadership team. We talked to Pastor Ed and Pastor Tom and the elders, the team of guys that I work with, and they all felt an incredible confirmation, like, yes, this is God, which is another just amazing. So it's like the Holy Spirit just jumped each little mountain. I thought, there's just no way it's going to pass this. No way it's going to pass this. And he keeps doing it and doing it and doing it. And so God's hand is just amazingly set us up for this time that he has for our family. And just some amazing things have taken place that have led us up to this.
Yeah, it's amazing how it's really been effortless in just the steps that have needed to happen. We haven't had to put our hands or to it or make anything happen or convince anyone or, you know, anything like that. It's just been God saying, here's my stamp of approval. Let me take care of things for you. And it's been really fun.
That's been the amazing part. Is I've been telling everyone who talks, I said, we don't feel like we've had to strive for anything. You know, we've kind of just let the Lord do it, and it's like the more we take our hands off, the more he shows up and does what he does. And so we've been getting a lot of amazing support from our friends. You know, they're maybe sad to see us go, but they feel the Lord. Actually, Stacia called one of our close friends, and like when she picked up the phone, she kind of called to say, you're moving to California, aren't you? It was really weird. And my mom even kind of did something like that one day. She was looking at a Bethel worship team up on her television, and she just kind of looked over at me and said, you're going to move there someday. And I was like, what? Why do you say that? I mean, where does that even come from? It just didn't make sense. So we just feel like the Lord has been dropping us these little hints. And so, you know, we're excited about having this site together just to let you guys in on what we're doing. And we still got some hills to climb, and we some support that we need to raise and whatnot, but we're not really worried. We just believe that God is there, and his hand is, you know, I've been telling people, you know, we do have a big chunk of support to do, but it's like if God has called us to this, he's not up there like wringing his hands going, oh, I hope they have enough money to complete my will. You know, I'm not really worried about it. So we're excited about what's going on, and we encourage you to touch base with us if you have questions or thoughts. We'd love to talk to you about what God's been doing in our life.
Yeah, we're really excited.
See you around.